Some of them come to trick, not to dread. This day they will see by an eye. Some of them come to trick, not to dread. This day.
1. Cuba is overwhelmingly Roman Catholic. 2. Roman Catholics are allowed to join the atheist Communist Party. 3. Fidel Castro himself is a graduate of several Jesuit institutions, and is in good standing with the Pope. 4. He was a member of the Roman Catholic Christian Democrat Party before starting his Marxist-Leninist revolution. Albert Rivera, the former Jesuit priest who became a Protestant preacher, said that Castro is a fourth-degree, professed Jesuit. The circumstantial evidence strongly corroborates that statement. American conservatives and Latin American leftists share the common delusion that Fidel Castro is a Soviet agent, that he is a Russian puppet carrying out the bidding of international communism in Latin America and the rest of the Third World. U.S. Secretary of State Alexander Haig is fond of promoting that myth by denouncing Castro as a Russian proxy at every turn, and Castro himself likes to contribute to the delusion. But the fact of the matter, as Haig knows perfectly well, is that Fidel Castro is a long-term cultivated asset of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, whom they have successfully thrust deep into the Soviet camp. Mengistu participated in a successful military coup against the US, backed Emperor Haile Selassie in 1974, eventually seizing power on the 3rd of February, 1977, by massacring his rivals in the officer corps. Castro admired this bloody deed as a preemptive strike against rightists that showed wisdom and cleared the way for Cuba to support Mengistu without any constraints, as he explained to East German dictator Erich Honecker in an April 1977 meeting whose minutes became public after the fall of European communism. Castro hatched a plan to steer Ethiopia into the Soviet camp in alliance with two Soviet-backed neighbors, southern Yemen and Somalia. However, Somalia's dictator, Mohammed Syed Barre, balked. He saw the upheaval in Addis Ababa differently, as an opportunity to seize Ethiopian territory long inhabited by ethnic Somalis. Somalia invaded this arid region, known as the Ogaden, in July 1977. Castro responded by sending 17,000 soldiers armed and transported by Moscow to save Mengistu and punish what was, as Castro correctly pointed out, a clear violation of international law by Syed Barre. Never mind that, to Somalis, Ethiopia's borders were those of Haile Selassie's defunct empire, which had split their ancestral land and enjoyed international recognition only due to Western imperial machinations. At the time, President Jimmy Carter was pursuing better relations with Havana and even considering an end to the U.S. embargo. Cuban military intervention in Africa, predictably, made it impossible for Carter to pursue the opening. Castro didn't mind that, either. By March 1978, the Cubans had ousted the Somalis, and then stayed to deter Somalia, now armed by Washington, from trying again. With the Cuban forces watching his back, Mengistu wrapped up his bloody campaign of domestic repression, known as the Red Terror, and sent his own Soviet-equipped, Cuban-trained troops to crush a rebellion in Eritrea. The last Cuban troops did not leave Ethiopia until September 1989. They were still on hand as hundreds of thousands died during the 1983 to 1985 famine exacerbated by Mengistu's collectivization of agriculture. Abandoned by Havana and Moscow, and facing a rebellion, Mengistu fled to Zimbabwe in 1991. Dictator Robert Mugabe, another close friend of Cuba, granted him asylum.